Thank you for coming, Congressman. My question is, how much in danger is our Social Security?
Great question. Let me say this about Social Security. As you know, Social Security is a social contract that came into being. Those of you who know the history of Social Security, after the tremendous stock market crash of 1929, this country went into a Great Depression. And part of that was the so-called New Deal. And the big part of the New Deal was the creation of Social Security. In fact, I've seen one study that indicated that at the time, over 80% of the senior citizens in this country were in poverty. And Social Security came online, and it cut that poverty level down to less than 10%. A lot of people say Social Security is the greatest anti-poverty program ever created. Now, our Republican friends have always had a problem with Social Security. I've never been able to understand that. If you go back and look at, as I have done, all the debate, don't look at the final vote on Social Security, but look at all the debate on Social Security, and the Republicans hated it. They tried everything they could to stop Roosevelt, Franklin Roosevelt, let me be clear, from putting Social Security in place. Now, when they failed on all the amendments they put up, they then came on board, and when the final vote came, it was an overwhelming bipartisan vote. But the final vote is not indicative of the lead up to the Social Security. So for some strange reason, they've always had a problem with it. So the president has called Social Security a scam. Elon Musk has called it the greatest Ponzi scheme of all time. To me, Social Security is a contract that our government has made with every worker. I started paying Social Security at the age of 16. And if all goes well, from July 21st, I'm going to celebrate the 46th anniversary of my 39th birthday. Now, that adds up to 85. Now, I've been paying Social Security a long time, paying into it. And even when I was a student at South Carolina State, I worked in the cafeteria, paying Social Security. So it's a big trust fund that's been there for a long time. And investors, some investors, have been trying to get their mittens on that trust fund for a long time. They would love to get into that trust fund and start gambling on Wall Street with the money you pay in. That is a big danger. Now, some of you may recall several years ago, around the time that George W. Bush was advocating privatizing Social Security, we had a scandal on Wall Street, a guy named Madoff. Made off with a lot of people's money. True. And just think of what would have happened to Social Security if that trust fund had been exposed to that kind of investment. So we have got to protect Social Security because the president calls it a scam. His most trusted advisor is calling it a Ponzi scheme. They're doing things that they can to discredit Social Security. They're closing Social Security offices. They're changing the rules. They're now saying if for you to renew your disability or you to prove your disability, you got to come to a regional office. You can't do it by phone. If you got a disability, it seems to me it could very well prevent you from making that trip. But then even if you don't have a disability and you're closing the regional offices and you're laying off workers, then what is there? So Social Security is in danger, big danger.